So I am really upset right now. I found this book. It's like a teen Catholic advice book, and I thought it was just going to be kind of funny. And instead, it's made me this crazy mix of angry and sad. Mostly just sad. Um, I flipped across. The first thing I opened it up to was a discussion of morality and sex, and it has right off the bat 15 reasons not to have premarital sex. It overemphasizes STDs and pregnancy risk. It says a whole lot of things that are just like the fact that there are children out there who are getting this education just makes me so sad for them. So this is a video where I'm going to kind of talk about my view of sex and sexuality. Um, so I'm a sex positive feminist. It doesn't mean that I believe you should go out and have sex with everybody all the time. If you want to, go right ahead, as long as it's consensual. Um, it means that I think that your sexual expression or lack thereof of your sexuality or lack of sexuality is perfect the way it is. I think everyone should feel free to do what they want that will fulfill themselves sexually. I think sexuality is an important part of our lives. I say that, however, there are people that are asexual, gray sexual, demisexual, just like there are people who, on the other spectrum of attraction, homosexual, heterosexual, bisexual. What is that other one that's like duosexual? Whatever. Anyway, you get the point. The point is there are a lot of different ways of expressing sexuality, and I think that all of them are valid. The problems that I have with waiting for marriage, um, so it's really the shaming of premarital sex that, first of all, it holds women to a different standard than men. Traditionally, women are just implied that there's actually two poems in here, one from a woman, one from a man. And in one, a woman let a guy do something and she lost him. In the other, the man asked the girl for sex, she said no, and then they got married. Um, I don't get it. There's a lollipop metaphor, there's all kind of things, and it's just like, either one of you is virtuous and like you can't have it both ways. It just doesn't make sense. Another thing is that I think if you're gonna have good sex, you need to be communicating. And these type of books shame people so that they don't know how to communicate about sex. They think it's wrong to talk about sex. And so when they ultimately end up, on their wedding night, supposedly never having done it, though virgins, people who take virginity pledges, are more likely to engage in oral or anal sex, which I think count as sex, than other teens. But anyway, when they get there, they don't know what it's going to be like. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be weird. I mean, in general, first time sexual contact with another human being, it's weird. It's weird. It's an experience that a lot of people have. I don't know. Anyway, one of the reasons this book was like to avoid awkwardness and tension is why you should wait. And I think that's a reason not to. I also think that sexual compatibility is a huge part of a relationship. All the time people say, oh, everything's perfect except for the sex. Okay, that's basically like saying everything's perfect except that, on Friday nights he always wants to go out and I always want to stay in. Meaning it's not a deal breaker, but it's totally going to wear down at you after a while. Sexuality, a lot of people don't realize until they start expressing it how big of a portion of themselves it is. It's something that obviously for a lot of us, I don't want to use biological imperative because that goes back to the whole like we're having sex just to make babies thing, which I totally disagree with. Um, but yeah, I definitely think that it's something that's natural. It's something that's there, and I don't even remember what I was saying. I'm sorry. I'm so upset. The point is, sex is what you make it. It's not inherently evil. It's not inherently great. Um, it takes communication, consent, um, but ultimately, I think that nobody's sexual expression should be stifled. I think if you want to have a great marriage that works, whatever. If you want to have a great marriage that works, sexual compatibility is a huge part of that. And if you just wait until you're married and discover, oh my gosh, he is not doing it for me, I'm not doing it for him. If it's the type of thing that can't be worked out, it can't be worked out. You could be one of those like 1 in a billion who's allergic to his sperm. Like, things are bad. I don't know. And they like to shame masturbation, they like to shame sexual exploration. It's your body. It's completely natural. Like, there's no evidence that suggests that sex has been purely procreative for the past however many years. In the Bible they talk about it a lot like it's for procreation, but that was like at the very beginning of time when they needed to make more people. Like, we're not at that point anymore. They found sex toys from like the Egyptian era. Okay, people have been masturbating, exploring themselves for a long freaking time, and that's okay. If sex is not natural, if exploring sexuality and having weird feelings and not knowing what to do about them and all this stuff, if that's not natural, I don't know what is. Um, so I guess the point here is, please don't feel weird about your sexuality, and don't be afraid to express it and ask questions. And if you have teenagers in your life or young kids who are starting to grow up and ask questions, don't feed them this bullshit. Don't shame them for their bodies. Encourage them to explore. If you believe that they should wait till marriage, that's fine, but just explain. No, actually, it's not fine. It's really not. I think you're welcome to share your views, but ultimately, you should not determine that for someone else. I don't understand why you would do that, because ultimately, you're not helping them. You're just hurting them, and it's dumb. It's dumb. Um, so this is something that is very important to me. Very important to me. And I'm really sad right now. And I really hope that somehow I can help teenagers who are struggling, who are being told by people that they love that what they're feeling is bad or wrong. And I just would really, really like that to happen. So if you have any questions about sex or sexuality, please come talk to me. You can do so completely anonymously. I can link you to some great resources, some good books, whatever. But I just want everybody to have happy, fulfilling lives, and I believe that a happy, fulfilling sex life is, for most of us, part of that. So yeah, this is my rant. Thanks for watching, and please consider everything I've said.